All right, hey everyone. Um, I'm gonna go over Hotutils, just some of the high-level features, things you can do within Hotutils. At a high level, Hotutils is primarily used for modding, um, although it has other functions, and we'll get into some of those functions here. Um, so what you're seeing here, I have $10 a month is the Chili subscription. That's what allows you to, use all the really nice modding features on the program. It's through Patreon. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Otherwise, just ask. But if you look up Hot Utils through Patreon then links through Discord, and then through Discord it links to basically your account with them. So that's how it works, just through the subscription system. So what you're seeing here is just basically, this is not the login screen, but basically it'll connect to Discord. Here, I'll just log out. So this is kind of what it looks like. EA Connect or Discord. I actually just use Discord um, because you have to use Discord in order for it to find your subscription. So we'll just log it in here. It'll bring us right back here again. Um, so at the top, you can see some of the currencies that you have here. So, you know, your credits, your crystals, how many mods you have, 341 out of 500 for me, your credits. So first thing I'm going to do is just refresh. So right here is a refresh button. So anytime you come in here, it's not going to automatically refresh it. So you just need to hit it, and that way it grabs the, latest account data, and it will break your connection to the game if you're on a PC client. So refreshing will break your thing. So when you go back into the game, if you flip back to the game again, you'll have to just hit the reload button there, bring the game back up. So we'll wait for it to refresh here. All right. So now I'll just go over some of the high level things. Squads and video content. Video content is from like, Fatal and, some other people here. I'll just click on it. I mean, there's videos for journey guides and stuff. I don't know how updated these are. Um, Honestly, you can use these if you want. I personally, if I need something, I'll just go to YouTube. But you could come here and find stuff. Potentially, there might be something in here. Um, like a journey guide or something. Yeah, there's no content, so I don't really use hot utils for that. Squads either. I guess you could use, squads. I guess, if you really wanted to. Um, I've never really been in here before. Um, so we'll just skip down to the player, go to profile. So here's all of your stats, um, everything you want to know about, your account. Really, what I come in here for is, I'm just curious what my mod score is. So, average mod score. But you can see, how many TW Omicrons you have in GAC, and, how many Relic Nines, you have, things like that. Just, kind of, neat. You get your payout times. Just, all your data points are in here. I don't think there's really anything um, excluded in there. Then down here, you can see the stats of your character. So if you want to see, a character like, Bo-Katan, so there, there's a Bo-Katan, whatever. You can just see what the stats are in there, if you're just looking for speed or something like that. Um, So before we get into the modding, there are a couple of really convenient tools, bronziums here. So really, so you have your ally code. So basically, this many ally points is worth this many bronzium packs. Now, if I hit this, it'll open all of them, all at once. And if you don't want to burn off all your points for whatever reason, you could put it in here. Or how many bronzium packs do you not want to open? Um, or no, how many bronze packs you do want to open, but how many ally points you want to keep, as in not spend. So if you want to keep 10,000 back, you would put 10,000 here, then it would open the rest. Um, and then you could check this box if you want to in-game mail with the results, but basically, you hit this button here. Also, this button is the equivalent of doing slash bronziums in Discord. So if you went into like the bot channel and just typed in slash bronziums, now you do need a subscription to be able to do this. Um, so basically, it just fired off. It just opened 218 bronzium packs in 10 seconds. Um, so how long would it take you to manually open them? So your results. So I could have checked this box, but at the same time, when you get into the game and you go to your shipments and then down to your shop currency, you'll be able to see right then and there how many um, character tokens you got there, your character shots. It actually tells you here 220. So really that'll be converted to shard shop currency. Um, Next is salvage. So farming I don't use. There's actually a different farming tool that I'll show as well. It's actually connected to this. It's separate but connected through SWGOH events. So I'll get into that. Salvage. So right here has all of your salvage items here. Um, Now, if I were to just select everything, right? Um, So you can lock certain things too. Like if you don't want to salvage a certain item because maybe perhaps you want to keep some back for leveling new tunes up. If they release new tunes, you want to keep some back. You could do that. I this is by default. These are the locked ones by default. So I really didn't mess with it too much. And honestly, I really if I really need to do it, I'll go in game and break them down. But basically, there's a lot of salvage in here, um, and you can choose how much to keep back. So let's just say you know the MK12 Armatech stun gun prototype salvage. Let's say right now I have 202, and I need 150 for whatever reason. It says for I don't actually pay attention to this column here, but it basically that column is um, total needed. Um, I'm not sure what that's based off of. Um, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you want to change this to like 150 or something, you could change that. And then so instead of it breaking down two, right? Because I had 200 in there, it'll break down 52 now. If I choose to break it down. But I'm just going to keep it there for now because I really don't have a need to break it down any further. Then, once you have all your minimum set, one other thing, some items have um, some items have multiple targets. I want to say, um, although it's not showing up at the moment because I think I had recently done it. But there are some items that it could be a circuit board and also transistors. So it would actually ask you to select the target for that item. Although none of them are showing up at the moment here. Let me just show locked. See once if oops, I think I just filtered there. Let's see if we have a right here. So like yeah, so this is a fairly common one. So you could, if you show locked and you hit and you unlock it, you could select, okay, I need, more circuit boards, and you could select it there. And then once you're all done, you can hit this one button, and bam, like based on how many you want to keep and what you have, in one click, it'll basically this is what you're going to end up getting. I recently salvaged, so there's not a lot there, but basically one click salvaging, I'll just do it. Um, and it kind of just saves you time from messing around in game. You could essentially do everything in here. It's not going to tell you the result. Your result was on the pop-up screen. So now I have more of those materials. All right. Datacrons. So I don't really use this. I really don't use this here for um, Datacrons, although you can. choose to do data crons in here. Um, just, if you want to re-roll in here for whatever reason, like, let's say you want to, re-roll a stat or something on there. This one already has 4 re-rolls, so you already know you're going to be paying a premium. Um, some of these that have, quite a few rolls, like this one here has 2 rolls. So, perhaps, this Han Solo one, if you want to re-roll, something here, again, let's say I want to re-roll armor pen or potency or critical chance or crit damage or tenacity. If I want to re-roll, I just simply hit this button and it'll go ahead and re-roll it if you have the materials. And it'll tell you the cost here too. So you can use this tool. I personally, kind of do it in game. Um, so it's an option. Um, Events and sharing, I don't use those. I don't think I have anything in there anyways. GAC. So in the GAC channel, um, you'll sometimes see people using like the GAC status or GAC compare, to where it shows you, how many drops and how many holds, people have. That's this tool here. That basically it'll allow you to use that functionality, that slash command, in that channel there, with this subscription, so you can kind of see. It also allows you to set up like alerts as well. I believe if they attack, I believe there is a way to set up um, a command for that in Discord. But JAC comparing and things like that, I actually use swgoh.gg um, for that personally, because it allows me to see, what their history was. What did they normally set on defense based on, previous, you know 3v3 and 5v5 seasons. So just, if you do any kind of, planning there, or scouting, um, I use the website, more so than this. Um, Before I get into mods, I'll get into mods. Um, Territory battles. So really, the only functionality outside of being an officer, the main functionality there is, being able to do one-click platoons. So, anytime a phase starts and you click to show platoons like you would normally do in um, the TB orders channel, or no, the platoons channel, um, there would actually be like a red button right at the bottom of those platoons. You click that button, it'll automatically platoon all your platoons for you. So, 12 days out of the month, you don't have to click a platoon button. So, for me, if you have a lot of platoons, how much time are you saving there? 12 days out of the month, provided you have platoons every day like that, but, every phase. But, how much time are you spending going back and forth looking at, the platoons, and then in game, or are you writing them down and then, platooning them? So, you know, $10 a month. I mean, some people have it just for that, the ease of not having to mess around. You click one button, platoons them, and then you move on. So, um, TW, so we don't really use any automated functionality for territory wars. Really, this functionality, you know, we may end up using it one day, but we really don't use it for territory wars. Guild is just, you can look at the guild there if you want. There's no functionality there. Officers, will end up using some of the stuff in these channels here. Same with templates. We do have some templates, and I believe we're going to be working on some more for territory wars at the time of this video. But, really, I don't personally go in any of these channels here. Actually, none of these conquest either, because we set up conquest so well in Discord. Some of the things that, the strategies and, um, you know, basically it's kind of rendered. these items, more or less unuseful. So we'll get into mods here. First thing we'll check out is the loadouts. Um, so here are my loadouts. So here you can see we got Beck, Gungans, DM Sidnute, Lumi, and Cadme. Obviously here we got the raid, right? Now with the recent changes, um, some of these teams really don't need a remod like they did in the past. At least me personally made it easier. Um, like Gungans and Cadme are two, maybe Lumi doesn't need a remod. We'll have to. I'm still playing around with it and see if I actually need a remod. I mean, Beck still needs a remod, but um, still playing with it. Here we got rote. You can label these by Naboo. Here we got some rote. You know, pretty clear as to what it is. Here we got a test loadout that I created. So um, here, actually, I'll delete it. Kind of show you how to create one. So really right here. Oh, so I have a kind of a general loadout here. So if you refresh and this is grayed out, that means all mods that are in this loadout are presently loaded. But if I went in game and changed even one mod, then this would show up, ungrayed out. Um, and it will allow me to click this button. Um, if I changed if I changed a mod in game and then I want to reflect that in this loadout, then I would just hit this update button. Basically, what this will do is it'll pull your current mod loadouts in game right into here. So let's say you load one of these other loadouts in here and you want to go back. Well, if you don't have Hotutils, you're doing that manually. Um, you know, if you got $10 a month, it'll save you the time. You know how much time you're spending remodding and doing it, all the other functionality I mentioned. So I'm trying to sell it, but at the same time, it's going to make your life easier. Um, no commission for me. Um, and then if you want to edit it, you can go into edit here, but we'll kind of do that in a test here. So, we'll just do test and, we'll just go like, whatever, we'll do row. I don't care. Um, so at this point, you can do a description here if you want to. It's just for your own purposes. So if you kind of know what to load out, I mean, I kind of name it, so I don't really need a description. Um, so if you leave it just like it is, basically it's going to pull every character you have. But if you just want specific characters, then you would untoggle that. And here's where you select. Now the first thing you got to do is select the filter. So here, obviously these are all the filters we have in game. So if you want to make, a loadout for mercenaries, let's say, you want to do like a Balin squad, right? For whatever reason, you want a specific loadout for Balin. So we'll create one here. Um, we'll go here and here. So we'll go with those five. And basically, and if you wanted to, so these are just mercenaries, but let's say, you have a couple mercenaries and then, you know, maybe you also want I don't know that it'll keep what you previously had clicked on the other one, so you're six selected. So we go back here, let's say, okay, I don't really care for Hondo, so now we have five. And so that will allow you to just create specific loadout for that. So then you click create new loadout, and it'll create a loadout. All right, here it is. All right, so you created a loadout with just those five characters, but mods are all the same, right? So you go in here, you hit the edit button if you want to screw around with the mods, which I assume you would, otherwise you wouldn't create this. So some of my these characters, obviously I use them, so they're modded, somewhat decently. And some, like Zeb, I don't use, and Kira really doesn't get used a whole lot, although with this present data cron set at the time of the video, perhaps I should consider remodding her. But let's say I do want to remod her. Let's say I want to put some six dot mods on her. Um, there's two ways you can go about it. There's an automate button right here. So this automate button basically will allow you to um, it'll just throw on the best mods and it will try its best to keep um, it won't give you like one of each type of, mod type. It won't give you like an offense and a health and a crit chance and a crit damage. It'll create, you know, four of one and two of another, generally. So it'll try to optimize the best it can, and it'll optimize based on, what what Hotutils perceives as, the best mods for that character. Um, so basically, I just hit OK here. You can set those up how you want. So basically, you can see here, it changed mods on every single one of mine. So it changed Balin's mods. It changed everyone's mods. There's not a single mod on here. So when they're all lit up gold like this, it means the mod has changed. And you can see the characters that these mods came from. So this would be what the game perceives as, best case scenario. Um, Although I would argue I probably had it set up a little better. Um, just some in-game knowledge will, you know, the automate functionality will work if you're just looking for quick and dirty. Um, like, hey, just give me a bunch of mods. Um, just give me some high power, high speed mods, and I just need them to just be strong characters. That's what the automate button would be for. Now, if you want to, piecemeal this, you can as well. So just click on any mod on a character and it'll bring you to this screen. And you can click on here and then so it'll filter that, whatever that mod is, it'll filter that type. You can further filter in here just by hitting this filter icon, and you can filter, okay, we want that. Okay, and for tank, maybe we want, tenacity, and you can click on here. um, if you want to filter by equipped and unequipped mods. So if you want to see all the mods, just, you know, leave it empty for all, as it says. Um, but let's say circle, we want protection instead of health. Okay, well, we'll filter that. So then that way we'll have protection on that one when we get to that one. So here we'll just kind of select a mod here. Okay, yep, that one looks good. And then you know, if you want a full potency set, you can just kind of come in here, you know, pick a mod. Sure, that looks good. And so here's that filter. So I filtered by protection, so it's only going to show you, um, remember we had selected um, tenacity mod, and then we also filtered by protection on the circle. So it's only going to show you these. So yep, that one looks good. So, and then when you're all done messing around with mods, basically you just hit the back arrow here because there's no real inherent save. Like, where do you save? Actually, you save just by hitting the back arrow here, and then you hit save and return, and then there you go. So there's the three mods that I had changed from there. And then if you had pulled mods from something else down here, well, it would show blank in there. So it would, here, I'll just show you. So, um, let's see. Actually, here, let me go back. All right, so let's just do a health arrow. So we got a health arrow, and we want to choose the one that is on, why am I not seeing it at the moment? Was it this one? Health Critivoid. Sorry. Go back here. Critivoid arrow. Well, it's looking like because it's on another I don't know, another loadout in here, it's not going to show up. Okay, well, they say you learn something every day. So basically, if a mod is showing up on one of these characters and you want to use that on a different character in this same loadout, then you need to choose a different, character for this loadout. So in order for me to see this, pretty sure I'm going to have to just select something else here. Go back, come up here, select this arrow. Oop, select the arrow. There it is. That was the Critivoid arrow that was previously on Sith Marauder, so then I can select it if I wanted Critivoid on this character. You go back, save and return, and there you go. And once you're all done messing around with mods, the nice thing is you can see your before stats right here and your after stats right here. And this is the net delta change on, whatever you're changing on here. So kind of nice you can see your stats before you kind of make a change. It's really nice when you trying to hit benchmarks. Think back to like the Riva mission, for example, where characters had to go in a certain order, before so this was a really good way to, hit certain benchmarks. Okay, you wanted more, crit avoidance on certain characters. Well, you need to hit crit avoidance and things like that. Um, so this tool makes it real easy to do that. So you just hit the save button. Once you're all done, okay, yep, we're good, good. And then we just hit save. All right, we go back to loadouts. And then right down here, here's your loadout. And if you want to push it to the game, hit the load button. And then do whatever function you were going to do with this particular squad. Once you're all done, you don't want to forget, come back in here, go back to your normal loadout, hit this load button and it'll load back your normal loadout for it. So that way your regular mods are on there. Also, good idea to occasionally take a snapshot here. In case, for whatever reason, your mod loadout gets screwed up, Hotutils base, you can't delete this. Um, so like here, you take a snapshot, and basically it's going to create a snapshot for you. Let's see. Yep. So it takes a little bit because it's looking at all your characters and all your mods, and it's basically taking picture of your loadout. That way, if something ever happens, it'll be able to come back here. So now it says active. It says active, that means it's current. If it doesn't say active, it's not current. So obviously I had made some changes there without taking a snapshot. And here there's some baselines that it struck. So you can see, how often I, do baselines there. Um, one in January. Well, it only has the last 5 in there. But here you can see I did a couple in February, couple this month. So as often as you snap a baseline, it'll be there. Um, Also, if you want to get an image of it, so let's say, sometimes you'll see people post their images of um, their mods, right? So, let's just say, you want to see this one. You just click this button right here. Oh, well, this one you can rename it. This one here creates an image. So here, so then you have an image of the mods, what it looks like. And here, and you can actually just, straight up, you know, if you take this image here, this link here and post it right in Discord, it'll post this picture. So that's how these are created through Hot Utils. You just take a picture of your loadout. Yep, quite easy. Um, Next is management. So up here, you can create. um, your own if you want to create a filter, like some of these I created. Um, these here, so these Grand Admiral ones that I have checked, basically these are public filters that someone had created. Arnold did not actually create these, but someone created it based off of whatever they had seen, and I have actually found them to work fairly well. Some people use this, some people use Ethian mods. Whatever your personal preference is. I just choose to use this because it worked best for me. I really didn't research or, take a lot of time to look at that. I just use them because it's what works for me. Um, so here you can view, um, I never changed that. I leave that at normal. You can look at unequipped, equipped, or all mods. So you can choose that. I generally have it on equipped unless I'm looking to do something to a mod that's either equipped or unequipped. But generally, I want to see them all, and I generally sort by speed. So that way, my highest speed mods are always at the top of the filters on, down below. And you can filter as well. So, if you want to do a secondary sort, you can as well. Um, I don't. Sometimes I do, but and then you can also come in here. So if you hit this quick filter, go to edit. If you want to filter by certain mods, your primary, secondary, what tier, what level mod, fully upgraded mod. Um, and then if there's any particular stat thresholds that you want to, let's say you want mods that are greater than 20 speed, then it'll show that. So whatever you have filtered up here, whatever you have in your filter, that's what will show up, provided you actually have a mod that meets those thresholds. So you could filter like this as well. Um, you know, Equipped or unequipped, fully exposed, all the secondaries. Um, you don't want you want to look at mods without speed, so you'd click this. So secondary is not present, you'd click speed, so then you would see all of your non-speed secondary mods and so forth. So that's just a quick filter. I use it from time to time, not terribly often, um, but it is really useful when you're trying to find mods and manipulate them. So uh, I chose to just buy some mods, just with my energy. I just did um, or the mod battles or whatever, just for the sake of this video. So right here we have just a bunch of crap mods that I would normally never do anything with. But for the sake of it, when you have mods, like you have a game mode and it just gives you mods. In here is where you do all of your modding. So if you just want to see all the secondaries on these, bam, you hit expose all. Tell you how many mods you're doing, how many credits going to cost to expose these mods. All right, so here you go. So it basically just upgraded them as far as it could. So it exposed the mods, right? And you notice now under garbage mods, it has a bunch in here. So all but this one are a garbage mod. And basically, garbage mod, really the identifier for it is no speed secondary. So all of these have nothing speed wise in the secondary. Additionally, if this didn't say 5 speed, if it said 4 or 3 speed, I would simply just click on it as well and just hit sell. So we're gonna just sell that. All right, now we're left with this one mod. Um, Basically, I think it's got one more um, upgrade to it. But if you hit the three dots right here, it gives you a couple of options: upgrade to 12, expose all. It this kind of does the same function. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just, whatever mods are left, I'll just hit, send it to max level. Great. I now have a mod that I would never normally upgrade right here. Normally I would want, normally I don't really touch those mods. I normally like going for gold, sometimes purple mods. So also you may have some mods at the bottom. So all the way at the bottom, if I had like gold mods, like brand new gold mods from in-game that I buy from the mod store that have 5 speed already. Those will come in down here. And, basically I'll just select them and then I'll do like an upgrade all. That same button that was right here. I don't have an example of it, unfortunately, at the moment. But I would just upgrade those, and then based on those results, I'd come right back up here, and I may choose just to sell off, some mods that did not roll speed. Like, if it's a gold mod with 5 speed, obviously that's garbage, unless you're looking for a low or no speed, mod. But um, there's really so few cases where you would ever, not want to have speed on your mod. Um, so that's kind of the overview here. There are several different areas like mods to slice. So basically, these are the fastest mods I have. Um, and really, I mean, obviously they're going to be 30 speed around the arrows, right? But once you get down past the arrows, then you start getting into some other mods. Okay, so here's like this mod here. I actually for yesterday's video, before everything got messed up with the audio, um, I had upgraded this one, and obviously this is a really nice mod. Um, it's not even a 6 dot mod, and it's got 24 speed. The second I upgrade it, it will turn to a 25 speed mod. So I purely don't have materials. But if you did have materials, you see how some of these are dark and some of these are light. Well, if they're light, that means that you can slice them. So let me unselect this one here, so that way I don't have it selected. So let's say I want to slice this one, right? Um, you know, Fairly good candidate for to try to get a fifth roll. And obviously here you can see these are the number of rolls. So this one rolled speed 4 times. This one rolled crit chance 3 times as it was being upgraded. So then down here you can hit slice. Oh, well, let me unselect all, slice there. If you have more mods, like if I select a bunch of these like this, it's not going to let you do it. Well, apparently it will. I have the materials for it. Um, but if I had, all right, here, let me just do this. So if I didn't have mods for it, it well, all right. It's only gonna slice the one mod, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't know why. Maybe I have materials for one of these. Oh, that's a gold mod. It can't slice anyways, duh. Um, where's that mod up here? All right, that one. There. So it will yell at you if it can't slice everything. Yeah, you can't slice a gold mod, a max mod. So that's why it came up. But if you just select this here, so here I'll just, for the sake of it, I'll just slice this just to show, um, and it's just going to warn you that you're using, the good materials. All right, where'd the mod go? Disappeared, right? That means it probably rolled speed. So, well, no, it's up here. Yeah, it did roll speed. So I probably ran out of materials. So it's kind of hiding. It must be hiding 23 speed. It's probably hiding somewhere in here. Oh no, it kicked it out of this area. So it moved it out of the mods to slice because basically mods to slice generally it'll move it out once it's no longer a valid mod that you want to slice anymore. So like this one here, probably don't want to slice anymore, right? Because you're not going to gain anything more by doing that. And so it'll move it out of that zone. As a matter of fact, it probably moved it down. There's desired mods as well. Let me see if it splits it out here. So those are all mods to slice. Unmatched mods. So like tenacity with crit damage. Generally not a combination you'll see. Um, so unmatched mods. Um, I'm not an expert on the unmatched mods, but generally if there are like secondaries that don't match up with the kind of the flow of the mod, um, like offense on a tenacity mod, or um, geez, what's another good example? Um, like crit on a health mod or something like that. Where typically like if this had like maybe crit damage, maybe this one wouldn't show up in this area. Um, I don't have a good handle as to why this happens, other than perhaps it's not these aren't the greatest mods in the world. I don't have a good handle on what that means. Um, Desired mods. Try to get down to that section. So desired mods are mods you probably should look at closely for upgrade potential. Um, these generally will be your better mods um, to upgrade, I guess. I Really what I do is I stick to this top section. Mods to slice is generally where I stay. Um, I don't usually look at those. If I'm looking for a mod to slice, it's generally going to be in this section here. So, like Newt here. So, oop, go. So like here's another four banger. So, let's see if we can fire this one to five. And if it doesn't, see, it just gave protection there. So maybe I want to try one more time. Try to get Newt more speed there. All right, so it didn't work. So, but what you can do now, I don't have any calibration materials, but if you had calibration materials, there would be a calibrate button down here. Um, Sadly, I don't have any way to show you the calibration in here, but there is a calibrate button that shows up in here, and you can calibrate, um, you know, s- your mods in here just by hitting the calibrate button. It'll be very straightforward. A dialog box would pop up in the middle of the screen. It'll show you the four, um, options, and then you just click on the one that you want to re-roll and just, you know, hit the calibrate button and it'll calibrate it and it'll show you the result. And if you want to keep it um, as well. So it's a very straightforward process to calibrate mods in here as well. And I will do that in here because typically I want to see at this level, versus doing it in game. In here, you can kind of see, okay, yep, maybe Mara here, um, we got 21 speed on four rolls. Maybe we can roll off, either the offense or the crit chance roll there to um, try to roll, maybe some more speed on there. Same thing with any of these 21 speed, four roll mods there. These would be, candidates, um, for calibration. And you got to keep in mind, like here, you can see this one was only rolled once. This one was rolled twice, three times. So obviously, the higher the roll, the more expensive it gets. Like this mod here, this Hoda mod, I will not be re-rolling this. This is going to cost me probably 100 material to try to re-roll that. Not worth it. There are better mods and there are better tools to figure out which mods are going to be the best ones, the best bang for your buck. If you look in the guild announcements from a few days ago, as of this video on March 24th, 2025, a few days prior, um, to this date, there was a message from me, kind of giving a link to a tool that will you just punch your ally code in and um, it'll load your mods and it'll kind of run an analysis on there and tell you which ones you should calibrate. All right. All the rest of these tools down here, I don't use them. Um, a long time ago, I would mess around with Playground Wizard and GI's Optimizer Grand Ivory. You can go in there. and do things. I don't personally go in here. Um, Basically, if you want to just kind of more or less auto mod, you could do this. So like you'd have to drag all these characters in here like this, and it'll put them in here, you know, and then you can hit the optimize my mods. So it's kind of like the automate feature, right? Like remember on the previous, um, the modding that I was showing you, there was that automate button that was up on top. Well, that's basically the same thing, except Grand Ivory kind of does things a little differently. It kind of mods things a little differently. Like I said, I don't personally use this. You can, I mean, you can go into here, um, like if you want to mod a particular character a certain way, like you wanted to look for mods with certain stats, this would be a tool for that. um, if you just hit that edit button. So, let's say you clear out all these and let's say Java, right? Put Java in here. You can target them for whatever you want, but um, okay, we want speed, maybe we don't need, crit damage as much. These are just weights. Um, you know, so maybe you want something like this. And okay, and then you want to restrict primary stats. So, what do you want on here? Okay, we want Java to be fast. Um, and we want a lot of, protection there, right? Let's say we just want a pile of protection and we're going for speed and we're going, I don't know, we'll just do something. I don't, and then you hit optimize and then there you go. So based on your weights that you put in there, this is the result. So this is how your job is currently sitting, and this is how he would be sitting in the future. So obviously, this is not how you would mod Java. But this is just for showing you how this tool could be useful if you want to set Java a certain way in game. Now, let's say, yep, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Um, then you can click move mods in game. It will also allow you to create a mod profile. So those loadouts, it would basically create a loadout for you in the loadouts tab here, if you hit this button. But otherwise, here and then here, your percent change here. Basically, this is like your quality of your character, more or less. I don't know how else to link that, but basically, by me putting these random mods on and selecting randomness in the filters, if I actually went through with this, basically the overall value when it does all its math, basically, I kind of lowered Java's, uh, I guess, effectiveness. Um, Basically, the kind of the value of him down by quite a bit. So obviously, I wouldn't want to do it. But if I hit this, if you hit this, then you could go back to your main loadout with all your PvP mods, and you could just hit update, and it'll pull those in there. Now the problem is, you see what you've done. Wheel's gonna be missing a mod. Rex is gonna be missing a mod. You know, these characters are all going to be missing those mods. So then you're going to have to go look at, these slots for those characters, get them, and you have to put a mod in those characters, and figure out what you're going to do there for mods. So, so you'll have to, kind of play with that. But this would be the one thing I would say that this would be the best use for this tool is if you're trying to find certain thresholds and certain loadouts, this tool is pretty good for that. But like I said, I wouldn't personally. I don't really personally use this tool. Um, yeah, and that goes for the rest of this too. A lot of these things here, like it'll point you towards the management tab. Um, these really don't do anything anymore. They're kind of phasing some of this stuff out down here. We already talked about these. There is one more feature I want to kind of review is if you're farming a tune. Um, how do you know how much material you need for that tune? So like this down here on under other is SE Gears. So that's SWGOH events gear. And and that's right here. So if you click that, this will come up. Um, what you got to do, you got to put your ally code in here, and then up here you have to log in. And it'll connect to your like your Google account or yeah, your Google account that you have, or whatever account or whatever way you would normally connect. I think it actually might need a Google account. I'm not entirely sure. I have a Google account, so a Gmail account. But it has you connect that way in order for this tool to work. Um, well, I have all GLs and all journey events. Um, okay, let's just do Omega Fugitive since she's now farmable at the time of this video. Let's say I want to take her up to Relic 5. Okay, so Gear 13, Relic, uh, and then Relic 5, and then hit add. What it's going to do is it's going to look at all of my gear and tell me, okay, what do I need in order to um, get her to Relic 5? And apparently, I have all the gear to take her to Relic. I don't have to farm anything to get her to Relic. And it looks like in order to get her to Relic 5, all I need is a little bit of signal data. 25 of the fragmented and 34 of the incomplete. So let's just add another one. So who was the next one that came out? Hunter, I think. So let's say, okay, I want to take Hunter to Relic 5 as well. I want to farm for that and Wrecker. I have a sneaking suspicion that I have I completed gear. I think I have something selected in here that's causing some issue. Unless I really am that well stocked. I don't know about that. I mean, this is incrementing. This is not. Um, yeah. So you can, but here you, I mean, it'll allow you, it'll show you basically, you can load as many characters as you want in here. Um, and it'll just keep compounding. So this height, so there's a bunch of filters on the side here. So you hit this gear, um, it'll basically show you. So like, well, for some reason it's not loading here. Let me hit this refresh once. Yeah, I think there's an issue. I think I might have to. Yeah, see, the thing is, I own so much of it required. Yeah, see, the thing is, I own enough gear to take these characters as high as I want. So that's going to be the issue. I'm trying to show you. There's only so many characters I don't have taken up all the way. I want to be able to show you. Um, all right, there we go. Finally. Um, I guess if you're well stocked, this tool is really not useful, right? So all these characters I could take up as far as I want, minus the relic levels. So here you can see with all these characters, let's say you want to look at all these characters. I want to get a plan to take all of these up. Well, here it's going to tell you in order to do that, 900 carbonites or the circuit boards are needed. And it tells you how many you own. It looks at your inventory and how many more you need. So here, here's what you need. Um, and then down here's the gear. Okay, we finally got to the point where I actually need to farm some gear for all these characters. And so now the problem is like all these characters, I already have them up to like the highest level. What is it, G11 or whatever the default is for 5 stars. Um, So I have a lot of them upgraded already pretty far. But here, like this case, I would need to farm 38 of these med packs in order for it to be basically get them to relic. All these to relic. So basically, when I can take them to relic, I can, I'll be ready for it. I'll know that I can go to the fleet battle 5H to farm those. Or I could use crystals or um, this currency here, the get one. And so this is a way that you can, gear farm. Get a plan for whatever your target is. And you can do the presets up here. Like if you're farming a GL, you know, there's a bunch in the guild. I mean, I think we have 20 galactic glats right now at the time of this video. So if you were farming uh glat, let me find here. So here's a Soko. So here, you can hit this one and it'll clear all those characters out all in one shot. If you click on this here, it'll load in all those characters. And so then that way you can literally see, all right, and if I want to get her unlocked, here's all the stuff I need. I have it already. But or if you want to get all your characters to relic level, well, it's going to load in every last character. But then here you'll be able to see, all right, if I want to take every character in the game, I can't imagine a case where you'd ever want to use that because there's some really bad characters that don't have any in-game viability. But if you really wanted to, this is what it would take, So you have a farm plan there, um, or if you want to get them to G12 or whatever the case is, you can choose any galactic legend or multiple galactic legends, and you can get a farm plan for them. It'll show up down here. All right, so that's Hotutils along with this SWGOH events gear tool. That in order for this tool to work, it does require Hotutils subscription. This will not work. Now you'll be able to see how you'll be able to use this. If you don't have a subscription, you will be able to use this tool, but it will not be able to pull in your current quantity of material. You would literally have to go in game, find how much material you have, and punch it in there, and it won't save it once you go away from it. So if you close out the screen, it'll end up going away, and you have to do it all over again. So really, this tool is useful. Uh, if you just want to see the gear, but if you have a high utility subscription, it'll be really valuable if you're farming something. All right, that was all.